Hey there, K9 Lionheart. I'm actually responding to your response to my response. It's kind of funny. I like saying that a lot. Um, I don't know. I understand your question now, and I figure, since it seems like I kind of misunderstood it, I would go ahead and answer that question. Um, Over commercialization, as far as people studying the Bible and not understanding it fully and then going out to preach. Yes, that is a bad thing. It's part of the reason why people should read. Um, and trust me, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that people, like every Christian, reads and gets it right. Because there are people out there that don't read their Bible. And, they get caught. And they make mistakes. Which is not uncommon amongst all people. Everybody's going to make a wrong assumption. Or give you a wrong answer to a question. So it happens. We're human. People make mistakes. Um, I noticed you were a little sensitive about the testimony issue as far as your response, and this idea that it's going to make you uncomfortable, I don't necessarily think is a valid reason why it is that people shouldn't testify to their faith. Um, I'm not saying like, oh, you're going to make them uncomfortable and try to make them as uncomfortable as possible when you're giving their testimony. No, I'm saying that it's not a I don't think that's a particularly good reason why it is you shouldn't hear somebody out. Because you could say that about politics too, and nothing gets solved. It's like saying, okay, abortion? No, let's not talk about it. But yeah, it's a serious topic. Now, as to whether or not you consider it to be a serious topic, that's where the Christian should assess as to whether or not he should continue the topic or not. So, if you decide, you know what, I'm an atheist, I don't want to talk about this, Christians should say, this would be the typical response of a Christian. Okay, that's fine. Let's move on and do something else. That's how that's how a Christian should respond, rather than, well, hear me out for a minute. It's all completely based off of what you think and whether or not it is you actually want to hear. I don't talk to somebody unless they give me the opportunity to talk to them. So if somebody decides that they want to hear what I have to say, okay, I will give them what they want. If somebody doesn't want to hear, then I'll be fine. Let's move on to something else. It's not like, annoying people is Christians' main deal. Jehovah's Witnesses, I noticed you mentioned that too, and Jehovah's Witnesses just rag me on forever. I have a Jehovah's Witness family that continually comes to see my mother and asks my mother why it is that we're a Christian, and we kind of tell them because we believe in what we think. And I understand your conjecture about the Bible here. Me reading this does not make it true to other people. I think you misunderstood what I meant when I said that because I read it doesn't mean it's fact. I was saying that to people it's not going to make it fact. Just because I read a Bible and I believe it to be true doesn't mean that people are going to take it as fact because I read it and it changes my life. I'm not saying that. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's not going to change other people's reality of what they think, unless they start having a change of heart and maybe think, okay, this could be true. Let me listen to him a little more. That turning point is at the point where I probably would give them my testimony. But most of the time what happens is they don't want to hear it, or they just plain tell me to shut the fuck up. And I shut the fuck up. So I understand where you're coming from. Me believing that Jesus is God is not going to make that to reality to other people so that they will believe it. That's not going to change their thought process. That is not going to change what they think of me or the Bible, unless I manage to say something which is convincing to them. And that comes into the point at which I give you evidence that convinces you beyond a reasonable doubt that there is a deity that exists. Now, I will say to you, providing you with evidence of that, that's almost the point of faith. I mean, if you have faith, that there is a God out there, and you look at this and you believe it to be true, let a man have faith. That's the point of faith. I can't necessarily come up to you and say, this is proof, because you're not going to think it's proof. Even if I say it's proof, doesn't mean it's proof to you. That was what I was saying before. It's not so much as that, oh, you know, I don't believe it to be true, so you shouldn't believe it to be true. Or, I don't believe it to be true, and it's okay if you don't think it's true. No, I'm saying that I think that this is true. But, my reality that I believe that this is the Bible is not necessarily going to change your reality thinking that it's false. Basically, your mind. Anything that you think in your mind is your own little reality. And that's what I mean when I say reality. Basically, I believe in my mind that the Bible is correct. That's my little reality that I've created for myself, because those are the choices that I have made. Your little reality, well, I'm not saying it's little, but understand what I'm saying. Your little reality is that a deity does not exist. So in your mind, you believe a deity does not exist, but to everyone else, your reality is not included into their own reality. So basically, it's your mindset, your mind process. I wish I could clarify a little more, because I kind of feel like I really didn't answer your question, and then there were other things that came up when you responded. In all honesty, I kind of look at this, and I feel like I don't know as to whether or not you really wanted to attack me, because I kind of felt when you mentioned that the Bible was not fact, I felt like that was a little bit. I wasn't thinking that it was insensitive on your part, but I kind of felt like okay, understand right now, when I talk on YouTube, I am very wary as to whether or not the person actually wants to hear what I want to say. There are people that are legitimate, and when I respond to their videos, they respond, be like, hey, thank you for your response, and they talk to me, and they debate with me, and they have a dialogue with me. Other people I found, when I send them a response, they really are setting me up for another question, and I really get irritated with that, because it's like, here I am, I think I'm talking about a certain topic, and all of a sudden I get blasted in the face with another one, which is not necessarily ethical. It's not based in ethics to decide that you're going to talk about a topic and then lure them into another topic. It's not ethical. But a lot of the time you do find people that are not very legitimate because of that. But out of all niceness, you don't do that. I felt like that's kind of, I'm not saying that's what happened here, but I was unsure as to whether or not that was what was going on. I will say in all honesty, like, you know, I'm not trying to preach the Bible to you. I'm just going ahead and answering your question as to whether or not, you know, over-commercialization is a problem. And I will say, yes, it is a major problem within Christianity. Because a lot of people don't understand what they're saying. They don't understand what they truly believe. And they preach what little things they know. And understand, too, I mean, when you're a child, you're not necessarily going to know everything. So it's very hard to do it as a child, but when you become an adult and you have the ability to be able to read this book and then try and preach it, you should know what you're doing. Don't be an idiot. So I would say also, even though over-commercialization as far as like people trying to gain believers, I believe that to be a major problem, because some people don't really truly believe either, even though they say they're Christian. Although I believe that's a major problem, I still believe even more that people that do believe in God or believe in a deity do go out and talk about it. I believe that that's going on more so than over-commercialization. I tend to see this over-commercialization problem mostly with Roman Catholics, amongst different Jehovah's Witness and Mormonism sects. I see that more often with them than I do really with Protestants. Although Protestants, like almost all Christians, have missions and missionaries and stuff like that, and they go out and they talk to people of different countries and stuff, and but they know what they're talking about. A lot of those people read their Bible and they know what they're talking about. But I wanted to just clarify that for you. I do believe that that's an issue, but as far as like you know, more people coming out to talk about God personally to people. I think that's a better thing. So, I'll see ya.